What's up, man? Shill.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Nice to see you, dude.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on the show and spending some time with us.
Yeah, man, definitely. Glad to be here.
How are you enjoying Bangkok so far?
Awesome so far. Awesome. I mean, I'm a little tired because I've been going back and forth to all these different countries for the last month here in Asia, but it's been good so far.
You were just in Korea, yeah?
I was just in Bali and Singapore actually, but right before that was Korea for Blockchain Week.
So we met in San Francisco. I felt like that was only yesterday, but that was like, what, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
4 or 5 weeks ago now, man.
So you've been hitting it hard since then.
Yeah, super hard. I don't think I've stopped. You know, I literally landed in San Francisco, met you at that conference, and just been going ever since, man.
So you're actually starting to get on the circuit now. Once you get on the circuit, I think it just starts to keep ramping up. So
I know, bro.
What's next? What's after this?
What's next? Next, I actually go to Bali. I'm going to kick it in Bali for a little vacation for like 4 or 5 days, structure out some business plan ideas that I have, and then off to LA. So there's a big crypto-related event in LA with some celebrities, and then Chicago for Voice of Blockchain, and who knows what's after that, man.
You're hitting it hard. I'm impressed.
Thank you. I'm stoked. I like it, man. It's fun. You know, there's a lot of really cool people at these events, and it's just cool to jump around and just do it.
And do you find your perspective changes, or do you find you kind of learn different things as you interact with different cultures and demographics at all these different events?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, for me, like everything changes because you get to see like how people think about crypto outside of like the bubble that we live in terms of like our own different experiences, you know. So in terms of me just sitting on Twitter or going to events and meetups in the US, like it's a completely different environment out here in Asia, and people really like it.
So speaking of Twitter, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your Twitter profile and what you've got going on.
Yeah, buddy. So I just create a lot of content online. So Twitter's my main platform. Just been growing that out, sending a lot of tweets out, having a lot of fun with a mix of educational content, you know, to help beginners in the space get acclimated, feel comfortable, as well as just humor and a mix of different stuff. And besides that, I am on all the social media channels, YouTube, things like that, and Telegram. And yeah, man, just putting out content as much as I can in any way, shape, and form that I can to help people get comfortable and feel like they can jump into crypto or learn about crypto a little bit easier.
And that's why you're growing. That's why I think you're seeing tremendous success. It was like we were talking about before. I think people really need to see, or people like to see, they want to be taught something, or they want to be entertained. And if people can hit both of those things, it's like you're providing just tremendous value to people, especially in a market like crypto that is like, it's so dynamic, it changes so often. I published a video a couple of days ago. I literally recorded 12 hours before and just got smashed in the comments because the prices had changed over 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, you're killing me. It's so hard. Like, you have to just be on top of it. Tell us about how you manage that traveling and being on Twitter too, because Twitter's like instant, man.
Totally. I mean, it's challenging, you know. It's definitely challenging because if I talk, there's a couple coins that like people will tell you about. They'll be like, oh, like Shill Nye told me about this coin, and now it's just completely wrecked, and I will have that on my record forever. Luckily, it kind of turns into a humorous thing after a little bit for some people, but yeah, you just got to be aware of I have to be aware of what I'm talking about, of what I'm buying, and what I'm sharing about what I'm buying.
Yeah.
And I have to be very particular and very clear with people that, like, when I talk about coins that I'm buying or Bitcoin price movement, like, it's just my opinion. It's like what I'm playing. It's not meant for them to just follow. It's not meant for them to jump on my bandwagon. Now I bought XYZ coin, and I need to buy the same coin. It's just it's a roadmap, and hopefully they can learn the strategies that I take in terms of buying coins and mold them into their own strategies.
I think you touch on a really interesting point there in regards to creators in the crypto space. It's hard for us because we really want to share as much of our knowledge as possible, but what you touched on before, you know you have a responsibility because of all these people that follow you. But I think too, things change so quick. Like what I thought was an incredible project that I shared 6 months ago, things have changed. Not only has the market changed, but the project has changed as well. And unfortunately, in social media space, you can't exactly go and delete that stuff. But you don't want to go and delete it too. You just kind of want people to understand that you learn as you go as well. I learn as I go as well. And I think people have just got to, from what I have seen, just follow as many people as they can and keep critical thinking as well when they're looking at the market.
Totally. And I don't know about you, but like for me, like all my social media stuff, it's more like a journal. Yeah. Like that's kind of how I use it. So like if I'm talking about a specific coin or a specific project, it's literally just like, oh, I like this project and this is why I like it. It's the same things that I would think or I would write to myself in private. I just do it publicly and I choose to share it. And I think that's what people need to realize is like, no one here is an expert. Whether I have 25,000 followers on Twitter, whether someone has 100,000 followers on YouTube, like no one's an expert. And we're all just kind of working through this together, and we're all just kind of figuring out what crypto is, what blockchain is, and what place and role it has in the world.
And crypto is evolving so quick too. Like even in the last 12 months, things have changed as well. So it's not only it's not only just us figuring out and things as they go, but it's the actual industry is figuring out where it sits.
Exactly. I mean, it's still in the air right now, you know, like the whole industry's in the air. In terms of regulation, in terms of the technology and the use case behind it, in terms of like, is this actually something that's relevant and useful and has enough added value to the world that it has a place as a giant industry, a billion, even trillion-dollar industry. And I think that's what's exciting about it, though. You know, like that's what I like it. I'm in it for the thrills. It's fun.
Totally, and I'm going to touch on that, your long-term thoughts in a few more questions. What I'm interested on is how have you found the audience change maybe since late December, early January to now? Have you seen a big shift on Twitter or YouTube? Not just in terms of traffic, but in terms of maybe the sentiment?
Oh, totally. So I mostly analyze FA and SA, you know, fundamental analysis and sentiment analysis. That's like kind of how I've always done my trading. It's kind of how I've always done my thing. And it's just changed so much. And it's not that it's been negative, it's just been volatile. You know, there's moments and times where over a full month period, people will be like, oh, wow, this is the best month ever. We're back in a bull season. And then the next day it just switches and everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're back in full bear mode. We're going back down to 3K. It just shows that no one has any idea where these prices are going or what's happening. And we all have predictions, we all have hopes, but we're all just kind of in the dark and shooting blindly at a target that we just can't see.
Have you found it's been a bit more challenging creating content in the current market?
You know, I think it was at first. It's maybe not more challenging, but it's more challenging with the reception. You know, I always create the same type of content. I switched a little bit or more from trading opinions to technology opinions because I'm a techie. I love tech, and it helps to be able to talk about technology when there's not really much to talk about when trading. But what has been challenging is the people's responses. You know, I've got a good community of people who are really positive, give me great responses all the time. But then there are a lot of people who are just salty and frustrated and angry about the market, angry that they're 80-90% down on their positions that they entered in February, March, etc. And they take it out on everybody else on Twitter because that's just the way that they choose to handle it. So I think that's the most challenging thing.
Have you found that as kind of the community, as kind of people have this poor sentiment, and I've certainly found that as well. Have you found yourself at times having to, because I have, to remind yourself, hey, like I'm feeling this as well. Like I'm an investor with these people as well. Like,
oh, totally. It's something that I have to like mention to people. Be like, yo, guys, like I'm not out here buying the very bottom. You know, like I bought a couple coins 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, these are great entries. I'm really stoked. I can't see this. I can't imagine this is going to go down anymore. And today I'm sitting at like negative 40-50% on some of those entries. You know, everybody's getting hurt out here. Everybody's taking a beating. Even if you're the best trader in the world, you definitely like lost some. And yeah, it all. But to be honest, it just makes me more bullish for what's happening next. You know, the lower we go, the more you should be bullish, not bearish.
I mean, I'm exactly the same, and I think this period, it's been a grind for everyone in this industry, especially people full-time, especially for content creators, people behind companies. And I saw Vinny Lingham actually did a really good tweet the other day where he was like, it was in relation to building a company, and he was like, building a company during a full time is easy. Building a company in a bare time is good. And what he meant was like going through that really hard period. And I think this is analogous even to an investor. The hard times are what will make you, in the long term, if you can get through this and learn enough of the fundamentals to actually see that long-term potential.
Totally. And I like the bear markets, to be honest with you. Like, it gives me time as a creator to, 1, strategize, 2, to build more content, and 3, like, I'm working on a new company right now, so I'm able to take the time to really say, this is my strategy for this company, this is what I want to build, this is how I'm going to build it. And I also don't have to be juggling, looking at the charts and saying, oh, well, should I be buying this coin right now, or this coin right now, and this coin right now, or should I be selling? I'm up 80%, 100%, whatever it would be. So I think what people don't realize, especially people online, is that a bear market is like the ultimate opportunity. They look at it as a really bad period for them, but it's actually the opportunity to change up the game, to change up what the way you're playing the game, and to improve.
Very interesting. I think it's extremely good advice for people. I'm interested in learning a little bit more about the company. Can you share something about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm working on a media marketing company, a media marketing firm that's pretty much going to deliver social media services as well as influencer marketing services and community services to other crypto companies. So I go to these conferences, and the biggest thing that people need is 1, influencers, 2, social media help, and 3, community help, like community management on their telegrams and things like that. So I'm working with a couple other people and a couple other companies to help bring the community side of things. I've got a few partners there, and I personally am helping people connect with other influencers as well as build a strategy for their social media presence and how to build a community through social media without using bots, without using fake followers and things like that. How to build something that's actually legit without putting a fake facade on.
So you're part of as Tom Lee was talking about this morning, you're part of the millennials and the new entrepreneurs coming out of this industry. You've obviously seen the opportunities, as have I, as have a lot of people. Do you think there's still a ton of opportunities out there for people if they want to get involved in this space?
Insane amounts of opportunities, I've been really thinking about this a lot, and I really believe it. I think if you're spending most of your time trading, it's not a bad thing, but I do think it is like the lowest opportunity that you can be capitalizing on right now. I think trading is great. I think you can make a lot of money trading. There's a lot of traders on Twitter. That's where I spend a lot of my time, so that's why I talk about that. Like, a lot of people talking about what they're buying, when they're buying it, when they're selling, etc., their strategies for trading. But the matter of fact is, if you're spending all of your time trading and you're not working on other projects, I think you're missing out for a long-term opportunity. Like the company that I'm building right now, I see it as a 5-10 year thing, and I can build reputation, I can build clientele, I can build a whole company structure where in 5 or 10 years, this is a multi-million dollar company, and people are coming to me for services in the blockchain industry because I've been established. I think that's what people don't realize is they look at the opportunity to make money on Bitcoin going to $100,000 or altcoins pumping 2,000%, but they don't look at the opportunity that we're actually in the middle of an emerging industry that is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And if you can position yourself correctly, you won't need to be trading. You'll have a company or a brand or something like in that area that will help you sustain and help you be financially free, or whatever you want to call it.
And you touched on exactly what Tom Lee said this morning, and he said, look, I'm not against traders, but if you can avoid trading, avoid it. There's too many other things that you could be doing in this space. What are your long-term outlooks on crypto as a market valuation and as an entrepreneur?
Long-term in crypto, it's specifically my long-term play is my entrepreneur play. So it's my what I want to call my brand, the Nye brand, as well as the company that I'm building. That's the long-term play. I think it's got insane amounts of potential if I play it correctly and if I play my cards right and I take it slow and be patient with it. In terms of market opinions, I'm bullish, man. Like, I'm fundamentally bullish on Bitcoin. I'm fundamentally bullish on crypto as a whole for the long term. I do think in the next few years, 2-3 years, the large majority of these altcoins are going to die. They're not really relevant, and they'll become irrelevant, and market will flood it. The money from the market will flood into either the coins that are staying relevant and actually have legitimate use cases, or back into Bitcoin. I don't see how Bitcoin doesn't hit $100,000. That's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah, and I must say I share that opinion as well, saying that very very carefully and eloquently about prices, not to give any financial advice, but
totally.
When I look at the data, when I look at the fundamentals, just excluding the market participants, Bitcoin halving every 4 years, programmed supply release, you can literally go and look at a counter online. This is what I tell people, like, as an asset, as an investment, how can it get any better where you literally know down to the decimal point how many of something there is going to be? Especially something with Bitcoin that has immense value proposition in terms of a decentralized currency, but so many more coming, so much more development in the process at the moment. I'm interested to know, mate, what's your favourite project at the moment in the crypto space? Any older ones or any new ones?
I'm really bullish on some new projects, man. I don't really have one specific favorite project, but supply chain projects are what I'm really, really bullish on. I really like supply chains because I think they've got a really big use case in the real world. I think that supply chain, utilizing via the blockchain, is how we're actually going to integrate crypto and the whole blockchain technology into the real world and into a real world use case. So projects like Origin Trail, who are doing it in the food industry, Eve, Devry, also a very good project, very strong project. Obviously VeChain, another good one. And then lending platforms, I think lending platforms are actually not just a legitimate use case, but a legitimate use case that is being used right now. So I'm a really big fan of Nexo. I'm close with the team. They're building something really cool, and they've already got working products. They're already doing it really successfully, and I support that project.
What would be your single most what are you most optimistic on in terms of protocols out there? Any favorites?
Man, I think it's all up in the air for protocols right now. I haven't picked one where I'm just like, oh, I love this project and I think it's going to be amazing. It's interesting because there's just so many out there right now. I think the market's over-flooded, it's oversaturated with protocols. So for me to pick one and say this one's going to be the best one ever, I can't do that just yet. I think
too early.
Yeah, I think it's too early. I even believe that it's possible that the protocol that will take over and will be the leader hasn't even been created yet.
True. So you think we're still pretty early in terms of blockchain's development as far as the code goes? You still think we've got a lot of work?
I still think we got a lot of work, definitely. I mean, even if we're talking about, like, let's say Ethereum, right? People think Ethereum's going to be the king. I think that it's going to run the smart contract realm, but I don't even think that's true yet. I think Ethereum might even just be the test run that started out as the leader, but showed someone else who's a little bit smarter, who's got a little bit more drive to them, how to create something and how to do it even better. And someone else might come in, swoop that opportunity up, and take the lead.
What I'm quite interested in looking into more and doing more research on is, see, with Ethereum at the moment, you've got most of the dApps are being built on it. But in the future, if a better one comes along, these companies are going to have to essentially migrate to another blockchain if they want to get off Ethereum. So Ethereum, in a way, is potentially, if my interpretation is correct, kind of locked in as being this protocol layer, unless these dApps can get off it and merge to another blockchain. But from a technology perspective or a feasibility perspective, I don't know if they can do that. Totally. And I also even question, like, are these dApps even relative? Like, do they even matter in the space? Are some of these dApps going to be some of the things that I'm talking about are going to die in the next 2 years? 98% of things that are going to die. Because I agree, like. Moving off the Ethereum blockchain onto another one, it would be very confusing, probably extremely complex. I'm not really a coder. I can't really speak on how complex it would be, but I just can imagine and take a guess at it. So yeah, it's definitely a thought. It's definitely interesting. So, mate, you're very well experienced. You've got a huge community in the crypto space. You're delving in the entrepreneurship as well, which is just awesome. And I love your ambition as well, mate. It's rubbing off on me, and I need it. What would be the one bit of advice you would give to a newcomer coming into the crypto space at the moment that's looking to either get involved from a community perspective and then also an investment perspective?
Totally. Just take it slow. Take it slow and be patient, right? Too many people just dive in, throw way too much money in, and end up wrecked 6 months later. Don't be buying in based upon fear and FOMO. Obviously, that's a very basic piece of advice, but just don't do that. There's no reason to move fast right now. I think people were moving too fast in December and January timeframes, and they ended up getting in and thinking it was just going to keep going up and up and up, and they got wrecked. And in terms of adding to the community, just share your skill. Everybody's got a different skill. Everybody's got a different personality. Share your personality, share your skill, whether it be online, whether it be at meetups, whether it be at conferences, whatever it might be. And you can just add to the space that way. I didn't ever really think my Twitter profile online was going to grow this big, this quickly, but I was just being myself. I was just sharing my opinions, sharing my thoughts, and people liked them. So just keep being yourself.
Now you travel in the world speaking, public speaking as well. How awesome is that?
Exactly, man. I love it. It's great. It's fantastic. It's too much fun.
Well, man, thank you for coming on the interview. Before we finish up, where can people follow you on Twitter? Where can they follow you on YouTube?
Yeah, guys, what's up? It's your boy Shill Nye. You can check me out on Twitter at Crypto Shill Nye, on Telegram at Crypto Shill Nye, and if you just search YouTube, Nye the Crypto Guy, you'll find me there.
No need to search, guys. Links down in the description. You know where to go.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers, guys.